What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the end of day video 8/2/2021. So welcome to August. Happy August. Just so you all know, I got a shout out to Glenn. I saw him over the weekend. Went out to his shop and we did a TCM. So between the last time I talked to you, we did a GM TCM and got that taken care of over the weekend. No problems there. Today was an interesting day. I got a couple stories for you. I only really worked on two vehicles today. First up was a 2006 Hummer H3. This was a crank, no start. All kinds of stuff going on here. Stick around. We're going to go into details about this diagnostic process that I followed and talk about that because I think I could have done better in certain ways, but overall, we got it figured out. And the next vehicle was a 2018 Isuzu Npr with a remanufactured transmission. This was a Jasper unit that had to get programmed. I used IO terminal to pull the information off the original and blow it back into the new one. And also, I'm working on a unboxing, should I say, tool test review of this breakout box, which is on Amazon, as you see here. Now, I got to tell you, it's a lesser expensive breakout box than the OTC or the Go Diag or whatever, but there's also less expensive than this out there. So I'll let you know how that goes, and stick around in future videos. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a little raffle and give this away. So as you can see here, we had a crank no start situation. Also, it's hard to see in this video, but I'll be honest with you, I missed it too. At this point, we don't have a check engine light on. Now, what I was hung up on is the security light. I was kind of thinking about that because the customer had stated that this thing will start and stall. Note that this was an auction vehicle and it's been around the block, if you know what I mean. I'll tell you straight up, usually I do a complete vehicle DTC scan, and I probably should have here. That should be part of my standard protocol, but I didn't. I just wanted to see if the computer even communicated, and as you see, it did. We had this vent solenoid code, vent control circuit. Now also I wanted to go and check in the body control module for codes, and that's kind of where I was headed here. I wanted to see the codes for the anti-theft system. I was really expecting for sure to have a security code. I thought for sure I'd have like a 2960 or something going on in the BCM, and I thought for sure in the PCM I'd show like a 1631. Nothing like that was going on here. That was very interesting. There's that vent solenoid code again, and we had this 1420 device ignition below threshold. Now, I went ahead and cleared this, and this code never came back. The shop was disconnecting and reconnecting the body control module, so I think probably somewhere in the mix that had happened. And then I wanted to go into data display. I wanted to go into the body control module and take a look at security data. And what I was looking for here is this VDT fuel disabled. It says active. That means that the vehicle's being shut down for a theft situation. They're shutting down the fuel. So this is where my process and procedure kind of got jacked up a little bit. I could have changed path, but at this point, I was really hung up on this ignition switch. Just so you know, the ignition switch in this vehicle was replaced already, I think with a part that has wings, if you know what I mean. I also wanted to monitor our ignition battery voltage signal and the crank voltage. At this point, I wanted to start using all my resources. Identifix and AllData are two resources I use exclusively, and I looked around and it was checking all kinds of stuff, to be honest with you. I looked around, and what I came to the conclusion of is that I wanted to be checking out this ignition crank circuit. There's a couple hits on Identifix and showing stuff, and I came to this one diagram here. This is an AllData diagram, and as you see, it shows this ignition switch. It's not showing us the complete switch because we do have the dotted line there, but what's interesting to me is I saw this run and start. I was checking this one circuit, and check out this diagram. It's showing run and start are not tied together on that part of the circuit. So I was getting a little confused trying to figure out which diagram was proper. I like to learn how the circuit works and then test it from there. So at this point, I wanted to check all my voltages at the ignition switch. It was real easy because somebody already had all the insulation off, wires twisted together. It was easy access for everything right there. And I went ahead and everything matched up what I was expecting at this point. So key in the ignition, engine off, we should have 13 volts. And then when we turn it to accessory, it should go to 0. And then when we go to run, it should go to about 4.4. And then when we crank this thing, it should drop to the vehicle theft deterrent resistor. So then I want to head over to test at the body control module on this circuit, A14 right here. Key in the ignition off, it should go to 12 volts. Turn it to accessory, it should go to 0 volts. Turn it to run, it should go to about 4.4 volts. Go to crank, and it should drop all the way to whatever the vehicle theft deterrent resistor will pull it down to. So it's a really interesting system, and I got to learn a little bit there. And everything I was looking at basically was telling me everything was okay. I really didn't see a whole lot to go on. So at this point, I decided, let me just try and do a vehicle theft deterrent learn, try and force it through on SPS. So I went ahead and did that, and of course it didn't fix it. I started getting more interested in what was going on here, that check engine light not coming on. So at this point I was trying to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. I thought about that check engine light not coming on. So I went into the powertrain control module on the Tech 2, commanded it on, and never came on. So I was thinking, well, what if there's some sort of power issue to this PCM? Let's double check all the fuses. And would you have it be that there's different discrepancies in the fuse block? We had different fuses in different locations, different amperage ratings. Somebody put higher amperage rating fuses where they don't belong in the fuse block, so I fixed all that. But even the service information had a couple discrepancies. I had to sift through different wiring diagrams. Using the OE ones ended up being right for the location of the fuses. But there was no fuse problem there. And then I started thinking to myself, wait a minute. How many times have I had an older, like a Chevy Impala or, you know, early to mid 2000s GM vehicle where it's like a 2002, 2003 to maybe an 06. If you do a vehicle security learn, the theft light will be on and then it'll go off after the 10 minutes, and then you go to crank it. And if the battery goes dead and it's trying to crank, it won't take the security. It actually needs to like hit and see RPM, and then it'll learn the security. Or if there's low voltage to anything, it'll cause a problem. And that's kind of where I started thinking. I did ask the technician if they checked the fuel for proper quality and quantity and volume, and they said that they did. And that's kind of where I got hung up a little bit. I probably would have been a little bit further into this. But first off, I went ahead and put a pressure gauge on there. I did a fuel system test, you know, just commanding each injector, making sure we could drop the pressure. Then I took a fuel sample, and it was a mess. We had a problem here. Got the magic milkshake going on here.
Oh, yeah.
So we got an old school OTC canister with some fresh gas, hooked that thing up there, started cranking on it really hard for a long time to clear out that rail, and then the problem was solved. So we had got it running, it was good, and that was awesome. Now, I got to tell you, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I think what was really going on is somebody put this ignition switch in. It probably didn't learn the security. This will happen on these older GMs. If the battery goes dead as you're cranking, or if for some reason it doesn't start and actually see more than, I don't know, 200 or 300 RPM or something, it will not allow it to learn the security. That's pretty odd stuff, I know, but once we got it running on the alternate fuel, the security light was gone, and this vehicle started and ran every time. So I was happy about that. They were happy about it. Unfortunately, it's misfiring pretty bad, and maybe he has a head gasket or something going on. I'm not sure. We'll see if they want to go any further with it at that time. But that was an interesting one. The vehicle after that, like I said, was an IO terminal tool job. If you want a video on that, be sure to check out hands-on auto training courses. If you get the core or the premium, you're going to be able to see that video up there probably in half an hour after this comes out. So appreciate everybody's support. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope this helps you out. Just remember, every time we're doing a diagnosis, got to keep that open head. This thing had so many problems. I was hung up. If we just focused on just not having a check engine light, or even that security light, or even having the Prindle, if you notice that Prindle will go out as you're cranking. Some cars do that, some cars don't. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Fuses in the wrong spots. They ripped out the security. I got all kinds of excuses if you want to hang out and listen, but the good fact of the matter is it was bad gas. So you guys have a great day. I appreciate everybody's support. Bye-bye.